Guys, so today I'm going to tell you about my past experience. I have two stories about my past experience. So, when I was 15 years old, I went to Yogyakarta with my family for a holiday. At first, my uncle offered us to go to Yogyakarta for a holiday with him and his family. Therefore, my family and I accept his offer. And coincidentally, we were on a school holiday and we didn't go anywhere else at that time. So, the day before we left Surabaya, my uncle offered to pick us up at about 7 a.m. so we didn't get stuck in the traffic. And long story short, my uncle picked us up from my house and we immediately headed to Yogyakarta. I was sleeping, eating snacks, and listening to some music when I was in a car. And we arrived at about 5 p.m. and it took 8 hours from Surabaya to Yogyakarta. But yeah, we took 10 hours because we often stopped by to eat. And back to the topic, after we arrived, we headed to the hotel, checked in, and we immediately rest so we wouldn't be tired for the next day's activity. The next day, we went to Baron Beach, which is one of the famous beach in Yogyakarta, and it took about 40 minutes from my hotel. And when we arrived, I saw many baby crabs in there, and I was so shocked because I had barely seen baby crabs on the beach. And my cousin and I were playing with the baby crabs and took photos of each other. And we took photos with our family too. After we finished playing, my uncle suddenly called us and said that there was a cave on that beach. So both of us were running into that cave, but yeah, there was nothing in there. So we decided to back in the beach and went to our car. And after that, we went to the restaurant for dinner. We searched for a restaurant that sells the best gudeg in Yogyakarta. And we found it and we immediately went to the restaurant. But yeah, we didn't eat in there. Instead, we were taking away the food and ate it in the hotel. And when we arrived at the hotel, we tried the gudeg, and I thought it was the best gudeg I've ever eaten. And after we were stuffed and tired, we went to bed to rest because the second day we would go to the cave. The next day, we went to the Pindol Cave, which is one of the most famous caves in Yogyakarta, and it took 1 hour from our hotel to the Pindol Cave because Pindol Cave is located in the countryside and our hotel is located in the capital city of Yogyakarta. So, after we arrived at the Pindol Cave, the safeguard told us to wear a lifebuoy because there was a river inside the cave, and the river was so deep and dark. Therefore, we used the lifebuoy and went straight into the cave. But when I was inside the cave, it terrified me a lot because the river was so deep and dark that I barely saw anything inside of the river. So I was afraid. There were many dangerous animals in the inside of the river. But in the middle of our journey, people used used to talk about in the Google reviews, and I was elated when I saw that beautiful hole with the sun shining into the cave, and it was the most beautiful cave I've ever seen. And after we finished, we went back from there and we were trying to find something to eat because we were starving. And until we found a street vendor near the cave that sells different kinds of noodles, such as poke me, indomie, etc. And we decided to but bought the poke me and ate it there. After that, we went back to our hotel and rest for the activity on the last day. On the third day, we ate breakfast at the hotel and went to the last destination, which is Malioboro Street. It is one of the most famous shopping center and well-known streets for locals and tourists in Yogyakarta. But before we went to the Malioboro, we packed our stuff first because it was our last day in Yogyakarta, and we immediately checked out from our hotel. Long story short, when we arrived at the Malioboro, I saw so many different kinds of street vendors in there, and they sold souvenirs, clothes, trousers, shoes, and sandals. But I just bought clothes and souvenirs for my friend because it's too expensive for me. And one time I was trying to bargain with the seller in there, but I couldn't because many people say when we want to bargain with the seller, we have to use the krama inggil. But krama inggil is so hard for me, and that's why I didn't get the lower price. And after we finished shopping, I said to my uncle that I want to stroll around the street for a while before we were going to leave. And when I was strolling around, I found the food that I liked the most, which was meatballs. So I stopped by for a moment to eat the meatballs, and it was so good. And after that, my uncle suddenly phoned me and said, "Where are you going? Let's go home." And I said, "Where are you, uncle? Can you share your location to me?" And he immediately sent his location to me, and I found him. So we went back to our car and back to Surabaya. And when we were in the middle of our way back home, I slept in the car most of the time. And because I was sleeping, I didn't realize that we had almost arrived in Surabaya. But in the middle of our way back home, my uncle suddenly offered to eat in the restaurant, so we accept and ate the meal in there. After we finished our meal, we went back to the car, and my uncle and straight away to my house. And when we arrived at my house, I said thank you to my uncle because he want to take us and pick us up for his holiday and his for a holiday with his family. And that's all about my first story, and we go straight to my second stories. Okay. The second story is about my past experience of being a vegetarian. It started when I was in junior high school. At that time, I was trying to be a vegetarian because I want to know how it felt to be a vegetarian. I start by eating tofu, fruit, and a lot of vegetables, including bitter gourd, which is the most bitter food I've ever eaten. And at first, I ate vegetables as usual until someday I want to try vegetables that I had never eaten before. Therefore, I bought the bitter gourd and cooked it. But when I tried it, I immediately threw it up. But yeah, so I never gave up. So I was still trying to eat that until finally I could eat it without throwing it up. At that time, I just ate vegetables constantly until someday I got bored and changed the vegetables into noodles. So that day I ate vermicelli and cooked it into some recipes for every meal, and it continued until it stopped when my friends said that I look thinner, and I felt like I was weakening from day to day because I didn't fully eat meat. Whereas in meat, there is a protein that provides energy for our body. So that's the reason why I stopped being a vegetarian and start to eat as I used to eat before I was being a vegetarian. But I didn't regret it. I once became a vegetarian though because it is good for our health in the future. Uh, of course, we don't feel the benefit right now. Instead, we feel it when we are getting older. In essence, the lessons learned from my venture into vegetarianism extend beyond the confines of a specific dietary regimen. They serve as a compass guiding my ongoing journey toward a holistic understanding of health. The experience has fostered a discerning approach to nutrition where choices are made not only for immediate gratification but with a foresight that considers the enduring impact on well being. In conclusion, my adventure into vegetarianism during junior high school was a fascinating journey filled with curiosity about being a vegetarian and try to adopt a plant based lifestyle. I embrace tofu, fruits, and a lot of vegetables, trying something new rather than eating meat or something that people usually eat. And among the vegetables I dared to try was the notorious bitter gourd that for the first time led to an unpleasant experience. Despite I was vomiting after my first attempt, I was determined to overcome the bitterness. Gradually, I can eat that. The bitter gourd made me feel proud of myself because I can eat one of the most bitter vegetables that usually people cannot eat it. And there are several benefits for being a vegetarian. The first one, it can reduce the risk of chronic disease. The second one, it can make your body healthier. And the last but not least, it can make you live longer. All in all, being a vegetarian offers numerous benefits for overall health. And that's all. Thank you for your attention. Bye bye.